Welcome to the Black Doctors Talk podcast. I am Dr. Christopher Holmes, host for this episode and member of the Black Doctoral Network. Today, I am joined by Dr. Tara Collins, who is a retired U.S. Navy Chief Petty Officer, professor, and certified sports agent. Welcome, Dr. Collins.
Thank you, Dr. Holmes. Thanks for having me be a part of the Black Doctors Talk podcast. I appreciate it.
Well, listen, guys, you all buckle up. This young woman is action-packed, and I can't wait for you to hear her story, her experience, and every nugget she's going to drop for you today. So first, I would like for you to start by telling the viewers and listeners a little bit about your background. Where does it all begin for you?
Well, it all begins in this small town in Louisiana called Boutte. Boutte is about 25 miles west of New Orleans. I graduated from a high school named Honville High School. About 3 weeks after graduating, I was headed on to the United States Navy to begin my naval career. My time in the Navy allowed me to see and learn different things, along with meeting different people who became dear friends. After serving for 20 years of active duty, I retired in 2011, and I'm currently a WNBA agent and professor at Grand Canyon University.
So tell me, why the Navy? What was your interest? What sparked you to go in that direction?
My dad was had served 4 years in the Navy. I had a cousin, two cousins. One cousin was already in the Navy, and then one had just joined. I wasn't ready for college back then, so I didn't want to go to school and waste my parents' money. So the next choice was the Navy, and I'm glad I chose it because it became a stepping stone for the things that I'm working on now.
So once you decided to go to college, you go and receive multiple degrees. But the one thing I noticed by reading through your profile is that you had always had this interest in business. And where did that come from?
My dad was the owner operator of his own trucking operation. He owned his own truck, and I think that's what sparked it. The Navy also, my goal when I was preparing to retire from the Navy was not to work for anyone else. So in order to do that, I would have to own my own business. I'll come up with something to do that. And it started early when I was in the Navy and I was checking out the different colleges. I started out as a criminal justice major.
Oh, okay.
And then I switched over because I knew I wanted to do something in sports. So I became a sports medicine major.
Mm.
And me and biology just didn't make it. So my advisor sat down with me and asked me what my goals were. And I told her I one day wanted to become a business owner. And so that's how I got on the business track and started working on my business degree.
So you go the business route, you get the degree, and then you get interested in sports and sports psychology. So take me through that transition.
So I always tell people, use your undergrad, just to discover the degrees that you're interested in. And then once I achieved my undergraduate, my bachelor's in business, something said, focus on a degree that piques your interest also. And I was in sports. I had been in sports since I was a kid. Even though I didn't go to college, I played sports in high school, didn't play in college because I didn't go as soon as I left high school. I joined the Navy. But that burning desire was still there to learn more about sports. And I found a graduate program in sports management, which didn't deal with biology and dealt with the business side of sports. And that really piqued my interest. And that's how I became interested with sports management. it wasn't nothing to, and you can ask my friends now, don't call me on the weekends because I'm watching some sporting event on Saturdays and Sundays. Even when traveling, I'm gonna find a hotel, television, or something to watch a sporting event. So the passion started from a kid.
Wow.
And it just never left. Even though I joined the Navy and was doing administrative things, that passion for sports was still there because I coached in the Navy also.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. See, I told y'all action packed. This young woman has done it all. So now let's go a little bit further.
Okay.
And talk to us a little bit about this journey that you have or that you're on right now with working with professional athletes. Why has that intrigued you?
So when I entered my PhD program, and my PhD is in sports management and leadership. And one of the challenge I had when I was in this program, as I entered my dissertation process, I had a chair. I went through 3 chairs. I had a chair who didn't understand sports. So instead of asking a question, about the things I was writing with, he would just say, nah, this doesn't make sense. Try something else. So I finally got with my final chair, and off the top, she was like, look, I don't know anything about sports. She said, so if I come back and ask you questions, it's not that I want you to change anything. She said, but just explain it to me. So I ended up doing my dissertation on the psychological process of African-American NFL players and the relationship with their agent. Not realizing, even though psychological should have been a kicker, to say, wait, this is touching in the psychology field.
Mhm.
But went through, deciphered their different process, that the things that they go through as athletes, as high school athletes, college athletes, professional athletes, and was successful in defending my argument for them. And it wasn't until maybe 2 or 3 years later, I went back and read my dissertation again
Mhm.
and realized that a lot of my information came from the sports psychology aspect of it, which I really enjoy. I mean, with the agency theory dealt on the sports management side, but that psychological part came from, the things that professional athletes go through. So that started piquing my interest with sports psychology. I had talked to my friend, Dr. Vance Keys, and I was like, I think I'm interested in sports psychology, but I don't want to go back to school or another degree or none of that. And so he said, don't go back to school. He said, just start curtailing your research
Mhm.
to the sports psychology aspect of it and submit your journals to the Association of Sports Psychology and start getting published, and you won't have to go to school for it.
Yeah.
So my dissertation piqued my interest for sports psychology.
Wow. And that was very smart advice from him as well. Very, very
Yeah,
smart
'cause
advice.
I was like, no more school, no more school. But yeah, he really helped me out.
So now here's the other burning question that I have.
Okay.
As a Black female, how often do you meet other individuals that look like yourself doing the work that you're doing?
Not often. Not often, but when I do, or when we do, it's this, when we
Hmm.
see I don't know, it's something about when we see each other and we share what we do, and then we start laughing, because we don't know at the beginning, we don't know that we're doctors. You know what I'm saying? So when we see each other and then we share what we do, and then we just start laughing, and we try to share what we're laughing about, but people don't understand it.
Mhm.
So I don't run into many very often, but when I do, it's a natural connection.
Mm.
That makes sense.
It does. And let me ask this question. And so, since there are very few Black women in this field, how do you make space for yourself in an arena of male dominance?
That's how I ended up working on my PhD, because I knew the sports industry was male dominated, and I knew I had to set myself apart from others, and still humbled, but you get phone calls back when you hear doctor in front of someone's name.
Yeah.
I can say that. So that's how I set myself apart. For one, I was a Black female. For two, I was still in the Navy. So I knew, and then you had people that was, have been in this industry for a while, who had been doing it. So I was like, okay, what can I do to prepare myself for when I walk away from my Navy career to be able to stand out in the sports industry? And that's how I ended up working on my PhD, because I knew I would need something to help me stand out in this male dominated industry. And it helped. And it helped. And like I say, that DR in front of your name, it holds weight when you're, whether it's emailing somebody, whether you calling and leave a message with somebody, it definitely holds weight. So my PhD helped me out.
So let me ask you this question. I told you I have a lot of questions. I'm excited about this interview. Who made a tremendous impact on you? I'm sure when you started that doctoral journey, somebody had to influence you and try to help mentor you through the process.
When I started, well, my kid, I have two sons. And I explained to, and they were both high school athletes. And I explained to them what I was working on. And they would be with me Saturdays and Sundays watching these events. And so they influenced me. And I wanted to show them what I was capable of doing. They had started Navy side, so I wanted to show them what Mom was doing on the sports industry side. Then I go back to Dr. Vance Keys. We met probably in 2012, and that's when I was getting deep into my research and stuff. And as you know, going through this dissertation process, you're going to hit walls. It's going to be some long nights and days crying. Sometimes you're going to want to quit.
Yes.
Dealing with one of my chairs, I was almost there, but Dr. Keys definitely mentored me and kept me going. When I didn't understand something, he would explain it to me. He would tell me, you can do this, you got this, you can do this. So he was one of them. I would say Dr. Arbogant. She was a big influence because I want to say she might have been the first Black female doctor I met.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Dr. Gant was probably the first who I saw go from, I saw her become a doctor. And we see them throughout, but just to be in her presence, to see her become a doctor, she was a big influence. So when I saw her do it, then I kept saying in my mind, you can do it too. You can do it too. So those two people definitely were mentors of mine on that track to becoming a doctor.
Well, now that you're in this field, what is one thing you wish you would have known a little bit earlier?
To get in it earlier.
I know, right?
To get in it earlier, to network with sports industry people earlier. I was so in the Navy, they teach you about networking, but it's networking with other Navy people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I should have took that concept when it was taught to me that it's cool to network with Navy people, but I should have also been networking with people in the sports industry early also.
So I just want to know, just take me through this day of an agent. What does that look like? How do you get clients? How do you maneuver for them and work with them and make sure they're doing what they need to do to stay in the professional arena? So just talk us a little bit through that.
So each day varies. For me, I like to search out who I think would be a good fit. You know, you have to be able to fit. You have to have in my opinion, you have to have a chemistry with these athletes. Be able to communicate with them. For a woman in the industry, you have to. I like to nurture my clients. It's good to. It's awesome to get the opportunity to play professionally. But I always ask them, so what happened once this career is over? Let's start planning from the beginning what you're going to do once this career is over. Because like everything, it comes to an end.
Right.
So what are you going to do when it comes to an end? And we work on goals. I search out clients. I check the rating system. I try to find someone who I think will be a good fit. I try to find someone who I know I can work with. And so it goes from emails to DMs to phone calls. Not everybody's going to answer the phone, regardless of who you are. Not everyone is interested and stuff like that. So prior to the pandemic, visiting college campuses, visiting different college programs, introducing yourself, getting to know coaches, getting to know players. That's how you build your network. And they'll remember. But some will remember, oh yeah, I remember she came out and talked to me, and I like what she was talking about and things like that. So I know some agencies, it's just about the person playing the sport, and then once they done.
Right.
I like to ensure my players are ready for life after playing the profession.
And I think, so your experience or your expertise in psychology probably serves you well. And so when we think about Black athletes and sometimes being honest where some of these kids come from, being thrust into the professional life with money they've never seen before, and probably a level of confidence that they've never had before. So when you talk about when it's over, psychologically, how does that impact these players?
So for those that aren't ready, it's they go through a cycle. They go through a depression cycle. And that's why I'm glad I'm getting into the sports psychology realm of it. But they go through a cycle. It could be depression. It could be anger, because some still want to play, but they have no choice or no option to continue to play. So mentally, we have to get them prepared mentally. And I think with the research that I'm working on now with NFL quarterbacks, hopefully we'll prepare them mentally for when the game does come to an end. But they go through a process. They go through depression. They go through anger. They go through okay, what's next? Right? And some of them may not have that completed education to do what they want to do next.
Yeah.
So I have to work to help them achieve what they're trying to achieve. And I think you see players who already know what they want to do or have already been working on what they want to do. Their transition is usually easier than those that just are focused on just the sport itself.
Yeah.
So yeah, so hopefully they'll listen to the things that I'm telling them and set themselves up for life after the sport.
So you mentioned this, and I didn't think about this until you said it, but COVID-19 hit. How did that impact you?
Ooh, oh man, I had my year all mapped out. I was scheduled to go to the women's Final Four, to go scout out some players. That was canceled. I was scheduled. I forgot what I want to say. It might have been the Sweet 16 was going to be up here at Southern Methodist University. I was prepared to go to that. That didn't happen. So really, when the world shut down, um, yeah, the sports agency aspect of my life, kind of shut down too. It didn't discourage me just because I had other things that I was working on. So I think that helped. But it was depressing as you saw things canceled and things closing, schools closing, kids having to go home. And yeah, it COVID-19 really wreaked havoc on the sports industry
Wow.
last year. I mean, it's still wreaking havoc now.
Yeah.
That just look at the Olympics. No spectators, none.
Yeah. That's just not what those athletes dreamed of, right?
Right.
But so if, of all the things you've done, what is your biggest accomplishment?
I have two.
Let's go.
One is, so my biggest accomplishment this thus far is seeing my two sons graduate high school. One, my oldest Ty, he's a United States sailor now. And then my youngest Troy, he's headed to Texas Southern University. He just
Awesome.
graduated high school, so he's headed to Texas Southern. And my other biggest accomplishment would be my PhD. To join the ranks of, I want to say it's what, 1% of us out there.
1%.
Yeah, 1%, and yeah, that's a pretty small number. So those are my two biggest accomplishments thus far. I'm quite sure I'll try to accomplish something else.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm not even worried about that. So let's talk about this. What are you excited about now moving forward? What's next for you?
Moving forward, I'm working on some research that I plan to submit to the association in sports psychology. So I'm excited about that. I'm also getting ready to work on some research dealing with sports and society that I'll submit to that journal. I'm excited to see what my mentees accomplish. I like to have meetings with my mentees just to go over their goals and what they're working on. So as I see them check things off that we have talked about,
Mhm.
that brings me joy and excitement. So to continue to see them build off of what they, have started working on or striving to accomplish, I'm excited about that. I'm excited to get back on this train within the agency, to represent players.
Yeah.
I know we still dealing with COVID, so it makes it harder because usually it's just family members invited to college games
Yeah.
and things like that. So, but I'm up for the task. I'm up for getting it done. So I'm excited. I'm excited for what the future just holds for my research, for my business, for my mentees, for my family.
So there's a little girl in Butte, and she's looking at you, and she says, "Man, she's amazing, but I can't be her." what would you say to that little Black girl to
That's
encourage
not
her?
true. I would tell her that's not true. You can be anything you put your mind to. Don't let anyone steal your dreams. No one. I mean, of course, people have said you can't do this, you can't do that, but I would definitely tell this young lady, this kid, um, if you can believe it, you can achieve it. So I would tell her to start believing in herself. To start believing in herself. Start figuring out what she want to do. She could be like me too. Yeah. So just encouraging and the encouragement. The encouragement. We have to pour into our youth. We have to pour into them for them to be successful. So definitely, I would encourage her to go after what she's dreaming of becoming, and don't think small.
Just because you're from a small town don't mean you can't do big things.
Exactly. If your dreams and goals don't scare you, in my opinion, you're thinking too small.
Yeah, I love it. If it doesn't scare you, you're thinking too small.
Yes.
I love it. So, Dr. Collins, talk to us a little bit about your affiliation with the Black Doctoral Network. How has being a part of this organization enhanced your career?
Oh, the Black Dot. Oh man, I remember when I first found out about them. I was still I was a PhD candidate, and I attended one of the conferences in Atlanta when Dr. Carnell West was the guest speaker, and seeing those doctors, a room full of Black doctors, and I mean, and like I said, I was just a candidate then, but when I tell you it inspired me to come back home and work harder so that I could finish up and get to where those doctors in that room were at. Yeah, the Black Doctoral Network has definitely been an inspiration in my life and in completing my PhD work, and just to see the work that that y'all are continuing to do. When you go back and look at the different videos on different doctors that y'all represent, that are represented there, it's inspiring. It's inspiring. So yeah, it's definitely, it's needed also.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. When I could echo your sentiments. When I went for the first time to a conference, it was truly inspiring.
Yes.
It felt like home, but it was like this wind that pushed you.
Yes.
And so it was just wonderful to be in that same space. So, Dr. Collins, thank you so much for joining me today. I am in awe of you. Thank you for your service, first of all. Thank you for the work that you're doing, and thank you for the difference that you're going to make. It has been a pleasure. If you don't mind, please tell our viewers and listeners where they can go and learn more about you and the work that you're doing.
Oh, yes. So you can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter, Dr. DRTARA_sports doc. That's my Instagram and Twitter handles. I'm currently working on relaunching. I have a Miss Sports Agent blog. So I'm in the process of relaunching that. That should be coming in about a month or so. And you'll be able to follow some of the work that I'm doing with different professional players throughout their communities and stuff.
Awesome.
So the mssportsagent.com will be the blog site. So that's what I'm working on.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining me. It has been a pleasure. And for you guys, please be sure to stay connected to the Black Doctoral Network and connect with us on all of our social media channels as well. Thank you for joining us today for the Black Doctor Talk podcast. We hope you will join us again next time. But for now, be sure to like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to tell a friend. Thank you, Dr. Collins, and have a great day.
Thanks, Dr. Holmes. I appreciate you.